Hello, everybody. Good evening, and welcome back to the beginning of the Tropical Weather Threat Society's 2025 seasonal coverage. Today begins the first day of hurricane season officially via the National Hurricane Center and NOAA. So buckle up, folks. Today is day one. We've got a little over 170 more days to go before we get out of this season. So, what happens between now and then, we'll be here for it all. Tonight, I would, everybody who is in the live, do me a favor and say hi to Jeffrey. Jeffrey is the one sitting in the co-pilot seat here tonight. Kylie is monitoring the YouTube feed. And yes, we do have a channel there on YouTube. If you guys would like to jump over and give us a follow over there, we would greatly appreciate it. So, getting and taking a look at the Atlantic Basin, we have absolutely nothing out there. There's nothing in the Atlantic Basin, and I will discuss here momentarily all of the hype that we've seen as far as the GFS goes. So, our names for the 2025 season, as you can see here, are as follows. So, our first name will be Andrea, and then we'll have Barry, Chantal, Dexter, Aaron, Fernand, Gabrielle, Humberto, Imelda, Jerry, Karen, Lorenzo, Melissa, Nestor, Olga, Pablo, Rebecca, Sebastian, Tanya, Van, and Wendy. Now, that is 21 names. Hopefully, we do not get through this entire list. But if we do, and we need more, here are the supplementary hurricane names for the Atlantic Basin. So, as you can see here, if we make it this far, this would be, Adria would be the 22nd name storm of the season. So, hopefully we don't need this, but there we are. As far as the National Hurricane Center is concerned, as we can see, I'll click on the Atlantic here. No tropical cyclone activity is expected during the next 7 days. But out here in the Eastern Pacific, we've already seen Tropical Storm Alvin formed earlier and unfortunately dissipated before I had the opportunity to sit down and talk about it here on a live stream. We do not trigger live streams for anything here in the Eastern Pacific. But if we were to have this particular situation with a 040 in the Atlantic, we would be live at 6 p.m. at least every night. While that is at 40% or higher. But, as we can see, we do have an area of interest here in the Eastern Pacific. Currently, it has a 48-hour chance, near 0%, not expecting anything over the next 48 hours. And then, over the course of 7 days, we have a medium chance of development at 40%. So, we're kind of keeping a watch on it. The ensembles are hinting that there could be something there later on down the road. Would be associated with a little bit of shedding energy from the Central American Gyre. And if we look here at the satellite view, we don't really see much out there in the Eastern Pacific Basin at all. Just a little bit of showers and thunderstorms associated, but nothing there at this time. So, let's go ahead and take a look here. I have here our hurricane activity for the course of the season. As you can see, our hurricanes and tropical storms are located in the red graph here, and our just strictly hurricanes, no tropical storms. The red includes tropical storms. The yellow is just strictly hurricanes. As you can see, when we start to get into about the middle of August, things really begin to heat up and then peak here around September 10th. As far as the season is concerned, and then it'll begin to come down. But we do get a little bit of a secondary peak, as you can see here. It is on retreat, and then right as we start to get to October, we get another little bounce and then another little bounce. It never really ends evenly. So there are opportunities throughout the season. As far as our Eastern Pacific is concerned, here is the graphic here. They are more evenly spread across the board and not one just big large peak that we see there in the Atlantic Basin. So what I've got here is tropical cyclone development throughout 10-day time periods all throughout the year. And currently, where we are at coming up here on June the 1st, this is our tropical and subtropical cyclone points of origin. This goes back all the way to 1851 and runs through 2023 for the Atlantic. Now the Pacific runs from 1949 to 2023. As you could see, over the course of over 150, closing in on a little over 170 years, we have had 33 named storms develop during that time period of June the 1st through June the 10th. So it's not saying that it is completely uncommon, but it is not likely either. Now, when we get into June 11th through the 20th, we start to see a little bit more activity. At this point in time, we have 53 named storms over that point from 1851 to 2023. So again, like activity will begin to pick up, and then as we get into July, we actually reduce. We've got here July 11th through the 20th, 47 named storms during that 10-day time period. But when we kind of scroll down here and get into the points of peak season, as you could see, once we get past mid-July and get towards the late end of July, 80 named storms. And the Eastern Pacific is going absolutely bonkers and will stay continuing to go bonkers. Once we get into August, though, things really, really begin to change. August 1st through the 10th, 106 named storms. So that's almost, we're starting to get into that one every year, at least during that time period. When we get into August 11th through the 20th, now we're starting to get running into peak season. 151 named storms. So that is almost one a year at that point, that you would expect at least one tropical cyclone to develop during the time period of August 11th through the 20th. Now, by the time we get to the end of August, we're looking at 207. At this point, that is at least one per year, maybe more. So now we're really getting into the deep part of the season. And then by the time we get at peak season through September 1st through the 10th, we're at 263. So that is almost getting to about 1.5 storms would anticipate to develop during the 10-day period of September 1st through September the 10th. Now, once we get past that, we start to reduce a little bit, slowly. We're still here from September 11th through the 20th at 210 named storms over the course of the 172-year time period that this covers. So we're still above at least one, like that. At that point, you're getting one storm, another storm, another storm. And then September 21st through the 30th, we have a 186. Now, just because we get development does not mean that we're going to have direct impacts or landfall, but it's climatologically speaking, we want to show, that we can get things, during different times of the year, but there is definitely a time of the season to where it really peaks out. And that is still a little ways away, so it is best to prepare now before a storm were to potentially approach your area. Beginning of October, this is where things get kind of concerning. If you notice, we start to get a lot of dots that start driving up into the points of the Western Caribbean, and we've got 157 on the total count over the years. So at that point, we really, really have to watch the Western Caribbean. It just really doesn't give a lot of people time to prepare. And especially when we get into October 11th through the 20th, we're really starting to reduce. We're down to 127 at this point, with some of these dots out here into the open waters that never really materialized or impacted anything. But if you look at this cluster down here into the Western Caribbean, a lot of these systems have been pulled northward due to a frontal boundary or a cold front that's coming through. And at that point, it really leaves the Florida Peninsula quite vulnerable for impacts. Now, getting into October 21st through the 31st, as you could see, a lot of these storms have that northeasterly component. These have been picked up by frontal boundaries and then ushered back off to the northeast. Depending on where it develops and how far west it gets is going to depend exactly where this is going to end up. And then once we get into November, it really begins to drop off. We have for November 1st through the 10th, 44 named storms. And then November 11th through the 20th, 32. November 21st through the 30th, 23 over the course of the years. And as you can see, it really begins to drop off. By the time that we get, there's actually been 2 named storms there during the 10-day period at the end of December over the course of 172 years. So it is not... while it is extremely uncommon, it is not unprecedented. And for graphical reference, for anybody here, we've got August, September. This is the peak season. This is when we've really got to watch for things. But if we come back up here to where we're at now, this is the climatological areas that we would want to monitor for potential tropical cyclone development. Speaking of tropical cyclone development, our seasonal forecast using here the Barcelona Supercomputing Center has a lot of industries, private entities, universities, and government entities that offer predictions. And as you can see, we've got NOAA's prediction right here as well. Well, what we like to do here is overall take the average of everybody, get everybody's input. And right now, our May to June average is 16 named storms. If we click on the hurricanes here, so we're at 16, and we'll average in a number of 8 hurricanes. As you can see, everybody's stuff varies. But the overall average is 8. And then our major hurricanes, we're looking at 4. So we've got 16 named storms. 50% of those are anticipated to be hurricanes at 8. And then 50% of those hurricanes are anticipated to become major hurricanes at 4. So that's what we're looking at for as far as the overall average for the season. Now, if we take a look at the forecasted ACE value, currently the May-June average is 140 units of ACE, but the most recent, if we put everybody together, we are looking at 148 units of ACE. And accumulated cyclone energy is a kind of a mathematical computation of the intensity of a storm plus its duration over time. And then that is quantified into a value, and then they assign those numbers and add everything up at the end of the season. Okay, taking a look at the Atlantic Basin, as we could see, we do have a completely different scenario than what we've seen last year. Currently, we are running well below average out here into portions of the main development region of the tropical Atlantic. We do have a kind of a cooler area associated right here around 50 degrees west. That's also associated with a massive plume of Saharan dust that is currently making its way across the tropical Atlantic and will be in the Western Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico as we go through and get in towards the end part of the week. Now, if we take a look at the water temperatures here, and this is all provided, I grabbed this off of Dr. Levi Cowan's Tropical Tidbits website, because I know a lot of people see this and are kind of used to this graphic. So as we could see, the tropical cyclone necessary, or the temperatures needed for a tropical cyclone, are associated with this yellow color. And really, you want to get into that first shade of orange to really start to support tropical cyclone development. As you could see, the Gulf, the Caribbean, and the Southwestern Atlantic all possess water temperatures that are that would be conducive for tropical cyclone development. As you could see out here into portions of the main development region, that's not the case. It is much cooler than normal right now. So it's going to be, we're not going to see anything out here in the near future, folks. Anything that were to potentially develop is going to be a little bit closer to home. Right now, the water temperatures out here in the main development region do not support tropical cyclone activity. Now, getting out here into talking about the MJO, we've got the forecast here. I don't know what happened to my, I think I accidentally deleted it. Oh no, I thought I pulled it up. I wanted the La Nina. Give me just 1 second here, folks. We'll pull up Tropical Tidbits again. I thought I had the ocean screen there. So if we take a look down here into the Enzo region, right now we're running cool neutral. We're not in La Nina or El Nino conditions. So right now we're just running at about 0.2 degrees below average. And we would need 0.5 degrees below average to be considered into a La Nina phase. That being said, means that we're going to have, being in a neutral phase, we're going to have to really watch the Madden-Julian oscillation and the North Atlantic oscillation. I don't have that graphic pulled up. But the Madden-Julian oscillation is a oscillation that runs from west to east across the tropical region, associated with increased convection and decreased shear. Provides a lot of lift, a lot of upper level diffluence where the air is evacuated and allowed to kind of exhaust out from anything that's underneath it. So when that phase comes through, it could increase, it's definitely going to increase shower and thunderstorm activity, which could then coalesce into some type of tropical cyclone because it just has a better environment in which to exist in. Well, when it comes to the Madden-Julian oscillation, we really want to be concerned when we get into this area here. So as this line comes around, as we can see, here's the forecast line right here. If this were to get into this area out here into phase 8 and phase 1, that's when we will have a little bit of extra attention that will need to be paid to the tropical region. It'll just be a better environment for things to exist. Now, as you could see, right now, it's still within the inner circle, so it's not really robust in any way, but it is anticipated to continue its movement. But now, whether it gets out here and begins to propagate along, the models are not 100% sure on that. It's been acting a little weird lately. I've been watching it for the last couple months. Now, there's something that I have to address, and that is the ridiculousness that I have seen with the GFS and all of these people saying that there is a hurricane coming. Folks, let me show you something. So here, I've got 4 operational models available on this screen. The upper left-hand corner is the GFS operational. This is the suspect at hand. On the upper right, we have the regular European operational model. On the lower left, we have the European AI-assisted model. And on the lower right, we have the UK Met model. Now, All of these, these all rank within the top 4 for tropical cyclone forecasting. Now, I'm going to roll this forward, and as I roll this forward, we are going to take a look here. The GFS already has popped something out there in the Eastern Pacific. Nobody else agrees. The UK Met has already ended. So through 6 days, the UK Met has absolutely nothing. Now, let's get to day 7. And as you can see, the GFS and both Euros, they have nothing. Now, as we get into day 8, the GFS has something. The Euros, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Now we get into day 9. The GFS has got a well-developed tropical cyclone at this point in time. And we get into day 10. It is now entered into the Gulf of Mexico. The Euro is still wondering what the GFS is looking at. Now, as we cannot go any further than that on these particular models, but no model, and listen to what I'm saying, folks, there is no model that has any skill over 10.2 days, period. End of story, full stop. So there is no reason for people to be posting, oh, look, in 300 something hours, Armageddon is going to take place. Cut it out. You know, you're doing nothing. If you see pages like that, unfollow them. It's really that simple. Don't engage. Let them humiliate and embarrass themselves when it gets to 10 days down the road and there ain't a damn thing there. Now, when we take a look at the dust model, this is one of the reasons why this is not going to work. Because a lot of folks fail to look out to the east. So I'm going to push play on this. And as you can see, there is a massive plume of Saharan dust coming across the entire Atlantic basin and is going to dry out everything. Here we are, day 6, day 7, day 8, 9, and finally getting down towards day 10. Now, we can see very clearly that when we get into day 8 or day 9, headed towards day 10, at this point there is a small gap in the dust here for the Caribbean and parts of the Western Caribbean as well. But also keep in mind that this massive dust plume is still going to roll through. It's not like it's going to be immediately replaced with this moist tropical air. No, that's not going to be the case. It's going to take time for this atmosphere to recover from all of that dry air. So, even though there is a gap in the dust, it is going to need, there's going to be a lot of dry air that remains. Now, I'm going to move this over and we're going to jump in here to the GFS, and I don't know what happened there. That is not what I want. I want the regular Atlantic. And here we are. I'm going to pull this out to day 10. Now, as you can see, there's only a couple lines. But if I come back to day 7, there's hardly anything at all. And this is why the National Hurricane Center only goes out 7 days, because models really start to lose their skill over time. By the time that we get to day 7, this is where things can be, like you're already pushing it by the time you get to day 7. If you come to day 10, you see, the potential of activity at that point. And a lot of people are showing these crazy things like 15 days. Well, we've already discussed that the model has 0 skill past this point. None. It's la-la land. And it really, really starts to lose skill dramatically once you get past 7 days. So as we can see here, if we go to the 7-day graphic, we don't have hardly anything at all. Well, let's compare that to the European model. Well, the European ensembles, I have this here at day 10 already. You tell me what exists. There's nothing. Take a look. Nothing. Zip, zero, nada. All right, so let's run it out into La La Land, where it has 0 skill and where people are posting all this stuff. Day 15. Each line represents 2% probability. You tell me what you see. Nada. Nothing. So, yeah, okay, so there's what, 1, 2 lines? 3 lines? Give me a break, folks. That's with no skill, 6%. I don't understand why these people continue. Oh, well, I do. They're looking for attention, hype, and oh, let's be first. Well, sometimes when you want to be first, you're usually wrong. You jump the gun, and if you don't know what you're talking about, then you embarrass yourself. And that's why, folks, you will never see us post models. I'll explain the models to you in a live, but we're not getting into that stuff. We keep it very short, simple, and official. If you see us post it, then there's reason for concern. So I've got here the probability of a tropical depression. Now, this is winds greater than 20 knots. So that you're not even really classified as a tropical depression. If we go and we run this, we got a little spot out there off the Carolina coast associated, non-tropical low associated with a low pressure system. Dismiss that. Could it gain tropical characteristics? Highly doubtful. We might get like a 10-10 from the National Hurricane Center on it if it starts to look kind of funny, but otherwise than that, no, I'm not worried about it. Day 5 through 7. As you can see down here into the Western Caribbean, the European model really has no idea what it's talking about. 6 through 8, 7 through 9. Now we're getting a little bit of an opportunity here, maybe getting into about 15% at that point. But let's take a look at what it means for a tropical storm. Uh-oh, signal's gone. So we'll come back, and then now we're going to go forward in time, days 8 through 10. Okay, so we get a little bit more of a signal of tropical depression. Let's click on tropical storm. Oh, we got a 5%. So as you can see, folks, it's not really much to get overly excited about. Days 8 or 9 through 11. We see an even stronger signal now for a tropical depression, and even something out here, tropical depression winds out here into portions of the tropical Atlantic, maybe in around 52 west, south of 10 though, keep that in mind. Tropical storm, nada. A couple little spots of 5%. Now you notice in the Eastern Pacific, that's a little bit of a different story. So a lot of this energy is anticipated to transition over Central America and then dispel itself out into the Eastern Pacific. Now, days 10 through 12, we definitely have a signal for tropical depression winds here in the southern part of the Western Caribbean. Take a look at the tropical storm, though. What are you talking about? It's gone. All of the signal is really over here into the Eastern Pacific, folks. So please don't get too overly nervous about it. Taking a quick look at Earth Null, there is something that I do want to show real quick. Jonathan and I were going over things earlier. And so I've pulled up the dust particulates here at the 700 millibar level associated with the Saharan air layer. You do see some of the wildfire smoke over the eastern portions of the United States and getting into the Great Plains, coming down, being generated up here into the northern portions of Canada. Now, all of this orange here is the Saharan air layer. But if you look, the Saharan air layer on the southern side really breaks down as we get into the monsoon trough. So that really tells us exactly where the monsoon trough exists. And if we come to the surface as well, we can then see kind of the interaction between the two air masses from the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. Now, from the National Hurricane Center, hurricane preparedness for hazards. If you live, depending on your location, you need to make sure that you understand that hurricanes will bring storm surge and storm tide, heavy rainfall and inland flooding, high winds, rip currents, and the possibility for tornadoes. Now, you can find this page right here on the National Hurricane Center's website to go over all of the potential threats that a hurricane can bring. On top of that, you can get it from the National Weather Service office, and this link also generates from the National Hurricane Center webpage. And then this is what to do before the tropical storm or hurricane. This is something that everybody needs to read. As you can see, they have checklists for your hurricane hazards, your evacuation plans, strengthening your home, where to get your information, updating your insurance, and then again, strengthening your home for a second time, because that's very important. Folks, there are a lot of resources that it is highly recommended to use. Prepare before a storm strikes. Do not wait till the last minute. Now, for anybody that would like to have, some real good lessons provided by the National Weather Service office, the Florida Tropical Training Week. Now, I don't care if you don't live in Florida. Everybody is welcome to attend. Knowledge is power, folks. A hurricane in Florida is no different than a hurricane in Louisiana, Texas, North Carolina, Georgia, wherever. A hurricane is a hurricane. So this is very, very valuable knowledge. The Florida Tropical Training Week is going to occur from July 21st through July 24th at 11 a.m., 1 p.m., and 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, virtual setting, free to the public. Day 1, monitoring the tropics and seasonal readiness. Day 2, getting ready for potential impacts. Day 3, sheltering and hunker down mode. And Day 4, post-storm safety and lessons learned. Highly recommend for anybody that would like to know more or does not, or would just like a general refresher of maybe some of the new things and new discoveries that have come out. Sign up today. You can find that at theweather.gov or hurricanes.gov. Also, I found this morning. I believe I'm about 98% sure that this is factual. This comes from the Lee County Public Safety Department down there in Lee County, Florida. This is the disaster preparedness sales tax holiday for this year for Florida residents, in the state of Florida. If you live close enough to Florida and you want to come get some tax-free hurricane preparedness stuff, hey, come on down. You're more than welcome to prepare for hurricane season and maybe save a little bit on some sales tax in the process. Common items, tarps, coolers, animal supplies, cleaning supplies. A more comprehensive list will be provided as soon as I can get my hands on it. Okay, I believe that is all that we have for tonight. I'm going to take a look if anybody has any questions or anything. I will be more than happy to answer anything that anybody may have. I don't see anything, so I'm going to go ahead and shut this down tonight. So, all right, folks, we'll be back. It's the start of the season. As soon as we get anything in the Atlantic Basin from the Outlook that has or exceeds 40% development chances, we will be live that night, and who knows how many nights after that. At least once a day at 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. If the threat increases, so does our live coverage. So we've always got your back, folks. Thank you, everybody, and welcome to the 2025 hurricane season. We'll be here with you all year long. So have a great time, and we will talk to you soon, but hopefully not too soon. Bye, everybody.